secularism and the Constitution of India. Before we understand this concept, let's understand the literal meaning of the word secular, where the word secular means a kind of a state which observes an attitude of neutrality and impartiality towards all religions. Yes, all religions, and not just one, but all religions. And to understand this concept better, let us see what are the type of countries or the type of governments that we have as far as their religious attitudes are concerned. We have a theistic state, then a theocratic state, and a secular state. Whereas an atheistic state is a kind of polity where a state is anti-religious, that is, it doesn't like any religion and rather it oppresses them. We have examples like the Mexican Constitution of 1917, or some communistic states like China, Soviet Union, Cuba are few of the states which followed this kind of policies for a brief period of time in their history. Now then we have a theocratic state or a theocratic kind of a government which is pro-religious, that is, it is with one particular religion and hence declares one particular religion as a state religion. For example, we can have Hinduism as a particular state religion, or Islam as a state religion, or Christianity or Buddhism or Jainism, or such kind of thing can happen. So such kind of government which follows one particular religion or which promotes one particular religion is called as a theocratic state. And then we have a secular state. A secular state is a neutral kind of a government. As we have just said, secular implies neutral and impartial towards all the religions. So is the government. So it is a state which is neutral in all matter of religions and does not uphold any particular religion as a state religion, as no official state religion is declared in such kind of polities. We have examples like USA and India which are totally secular in nature. And as an example of theocratic state, we can have Pakistan as a country which supports Islam. Then we have Nepal which supports Hinduism. Then we have Cambodia as Buddhism and Saudi Arabia as Islam again. So there are several countries which are theocratic in nature, or they have official policy or they somehow believe in that. Going further, let's see the preamble of the Indian Constitution. What's the status of secularism or the status of religion in the Constitution of India? Although until 1976, that is the 42nd Constitutional Amendment, there was no word as secular in the Constitution of India. Only by this particular amendment, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976, that we have got this particular word secular in the preamble of the Constitution. However, the Supreme Court said in 1974 itself, that is 2 years before than that although the words like secular state were not expressly mentioned in the Constitution of India, so we are talking about 1974 when this word was not there in the preamble, they said that although this word is not expressly mentioned in the Constitution of India, there can be no doubt that the constitution makers wanted to establish such a state or such a government, and accordingly Article 25 to 28 were inserted into the Constitution of India, which guarantees the fundamental rights to freedom of religion in the Constitution of India. So it says, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, kind of social, economic and political liberty of thought, expression, belief and faith and worship. Now mind these three words here, the belief, faith and worship. It in itself signifies that there is a tolerance towards religion in the Constitution of India. So in a sense, the Constitution of India says or embodies the positive concept of secularism, that is, irrespective of the strength of the religion in our country, the concept of secularism have the same status and support from the state for all the religions. And as defined by the 7th Chief Justice of India, Prahlad Balacharya Gajendra Gadkar, he stated that the state does not owe loyalty to any particular religion as such, and it is not irreligious or anti-religious in any sense. It gives equal freedom to all the religions. That is, the government have to support all the religions, and it has not to become irreligious or anti-religious. It does not owe any loyalty to any particular religion. It has to be secular in nature. And as mentioned by the Supreme Court of India, the secularism is a part of basic structure doctrine of the Constitution of India, and India is one of the seculars in the region, that is in the neighborhood. It is one of the seculars in the religion. We have Pakistan as Islamic state, then Nepal as a Hindu state, then we have Bangladesh as Islamic state, and then going further we can have Sri Lanka, which favors Buddhism, and so on and so forth. So it is kind of a proud thing for Indians that they are seculars in the region. When we say the word secularism, it actually acts like a wall between religion and the state polity or the government. So it doesn't, like this word when kept there, it acts like a wall or it acts like a hindrance where religion does not get involved into state or the government policies, and the state never gets involved into the religions. Hence, a secular state is founded on the idea that the state is concerned with the relationship between men and men, whereas it has nothing to do with the relationship between the God and man. So there is no relationship between secular state and God and man relationship. It is only concerned with the man to man relationship. Whereas the theocratic state, which is pro-religious towards a particular religion, it says they are concerned with God and man relationship and as well as man to man relationship. But secular state says that the God and man relationship is a matter of individual conscience and the government has nothing to do with it. And to understand the status of Indian constitution in the light of secularism, let us compare that with some atheistic and theocratic states in the world. For example, Albania, in the brief period of 1950s to 1980s, they followed the atheistic principles. After the World War II, the religion was identified as affecting the Albanian culture. It was considered as something being imported inside, and hence it was banned altogether, or anything which was related to religious matters were banned altogether. There was nationalization of most property, or rather each and every property of religious institution. Many of the clergies and believers were tried, tortured and executed. So it was highly oppressed by the Albanian government. Going further, let's see the example of Saudi Arabia, which is considered as a conservative theocratic state. It is highly conservative theocratic state. And in the constitution itself, where the basic principles of the governments are mentioned into 83 articles, where we are mentioning few of them. The article 1 says, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia is a sovereign Arab Islamic state. So they themselves are declaring that it is an Islamic state. It is in the name of Islam. The religion is Islam. The constitution is Almighty God's book. So they say that the constitution in itself will be considered as the God's book, that is the Holy Quran. Then Article 10 says that the state shall aspire to promote family bonds and Arab Islamic values. So in one point or the other, they are mentioning that Islam will be the main central point of the governance. So wherever it says the name of the country or the kind of constitution they can have, the kind of culture they can have, so it is all on the basis be Islam and only Islam. So this is kind of a conservative theocratic state as Saudi Arabia. Now let's see the other example of a theocratic state, which is a liberal one. We have the example of Cambodia. Cambodia is a liberal theocratic state where they are saying that we are promoting Buddhism as the state religion, but we are tolerant enough to consider other religions as well. Unlike Saudi Arabia, which is which is really pro a particular religion. The Constitution of Cambodia says, or many of the articles in the Cambodian constitution says, that the motto of the Cambodian constitution or the kingdom of Cambodia is nation, religion and king. So they are saying the religion is the motto of the kingdom of Cambodia. Then Article 31 says the Khmer citizen, that is the citizens of Cambodia, shall be equal before the law, enjoying the same rights, freedom, fulfilling the same obligation regardless of race, color, sex, language, religious belief, political tendency, and so on and so forth. So what we are considering here is the citizen shall be considered equal before the law regardless of religious beliefs. So if you're following Buddhism or you're not following Buddhism, it doesn't matter. If you are a citizen of Cambodia, you will be treated equal before the law. Article 43 says the freedom of religious belief or worship shall be guaranteed by the state on the condition that such freedom does not affect the religious belief or violate public order and security, and Buddhism shall be the state religion, and so on and so forth. Now let's see this case of United Kingdom, which is a pro-religious entity, or which is a theocratic state. It promotes Christianity as a state religion. Now the Church of England is represented in the UK Parliament by 26 bishops called as the Lord Spiritual. So what we are saying is, in the Parliament itself there is a seating of 26 bishops. So whatever decision making that they do, there will be an involvement of 26 bishops in that. So somehow or the other way, the debates and the government policies affects the whole of the United Kingdom. And the Queen of the United Kingdom is the supreme governor of the Church of England. So the king or the queen themselves will be considered as the supreme governors of the Church of England. That is, somehow a religious entity is involved in the government. Now let's see the case of India, which is a secular state, as we have already mentioned, that the Article 25, 26, 27 and 28, they guarantee the freedom of religion to all the people. These are the fundamental rights in India. It says the freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. So any citizen of India can certainly have a freedom of conscience, and they can go for any kind of profession, any kind of practice or any kind of propagation of any religion, and the state will not involve or not oppress that. Article 26 says that the citizens will have a freedom to manage religious affairs. So if they want to go for any kind of worship, they are having any kind of beliefs, they can always go for that and they can always manage that. So if they want to marry in a way of any particular religion, they can certainly go with that. If they have certain kind of religious congregations, they can certainly manage that. Article 27 says that freedom as to payment of taxes for promotion of any particular religion. So let's say there is a particular person, let's say he is a Muslim or he follows Islam, and he want to give any kind of charity for his particular religion, he can always go for that. Or say there's a person, or there's a Buddhist living in India and he want to go for a charity, he can certainly go for that. Or let's say we have a Jain or Hindu or a Christian who want to go for promotional kind of activity for a religion. He want to make a temple or a church or anything or any such sort of thing, he can certainly go and promote that. And similarly, the Article 28 says that freedom as to attendance or at religious instruction or religious worship in certain educational institution. So they can go for any kind of educational institution, they can have things of that sort as well. And it is interesting to mention that while the constitution makers were making and framing the constitution, there were heated debates whether to add the word "in the name of God" prior to the preamble or prior to the starting of the constitution. So they were saying that we should add "in the name of God, we the people of India, so and so." So this was the phrase that many of the constitution makers wanted that, but after a much heated debate, that was dropped off. Thank you.